Brandon, for the Warmachine Week and Homecoming, I'm putting together my list of board games I'm going to bring with me.
Why?
So far I've got Monopoly, Hungry Hungry Hippo, and I'm trying to decide between either Go Fish or Uno.
Oh.
Dude, Old Maid is where it's at. You got to get that in your rotation.
Why would you do this? That doesn't make any sense. Hello and welcome to episode 25 of Learn to Wargame. This is Brandon, or PG Mulus on the forums.
No, that's 26.
We did
27 or 28. I don't know.
No, it's 25.
This is going to be 25.
This is definitely 25.
Are you sure?
No. I don't have to edit this. I don't care.
Yeah, speaking of which, where are those two episodes that you were going to edit?
They're on this laptop. Feel free. We could probably continue and do that later.
Nope, doing it now.
All right, you introduce yourself then.
Did you already say your name?
Yes.
I used to
Right.
have one like that.
We're waiting on you still.
Why?
This is Jeremey. I go by Lord Fool on the forums.
Mike Pierce gonna
And
make
I hate Brandon's face.
No.
This is Max. I go by Age Vigos on the forums. You can come to DACA and I'll ban you. And, yeah.
Oh, am I introducing myself? I thought you were going to introduce me. That was part of my contract.
And from the left quarter, weighing in at 163 pounds.
It's more like 163 egos all crammed into one person. Hi, I'm Jake. I don't go by anything on the forums because all I do is troll them. As in, browse, not post. And I play Trolls right now. Trolls, yeah.
And I am Parker. Gidry, everybody calls me Tweak, although I don't know if that's my name on the forums or not. I think that's my name on the forums. I think I play Crix right now. But I have faction ADD like a crazy person. I probably play Cador more than anything else, but I'm playing Crix at the moment.
Is that a new faction?
Cador?
Thank you.
Yeah. Cador's an old faction. It was one of the first 4 factions, actually.
I've never heard of them. I've heard of Kador.
No, I like Cador.
You like what?
I like Cador.
That's not how it's pronounced, I don't think.
You put a different emphasis on a different syllable.
Allegedly, Matt Wilson has an aneurysm every time somebody pronounces it not properly, and then
Yeah, he
also
does.
anytime somebody says Menoth instead of Protectorate.
I play
Apparently,
Menoth, you know you don't. You play Protectorate. Menoth is a god.
Right, exactly. I play the god.
You do if you're playing the Avatar.
So, now that we're done with introductions, today we're going to do an episode.
Wow,
focused.
it is Cador. Look at that.
Son of a bitch. Did you actually look it up while we were talking?
I looked it up. I went to get the official, and it's Cador
Where's
this whole
the
time.
diphthong? Damn it!
Yeah, I see it. This is legit.
Just add a rim shot in there.
So anyway,
Got the aloe vera. This guy just got burned.
Jake, only I'm allowed to do the noises.
Somebody's got their own soundboard.
sorry, that was Daffy Duck, just helping us out.
That's great.
All right, so today we're going to be talking about the Judicator in the faction of Protectorate of Menoth.
Speaking of burning.
Yeah, and we're going to be rating it with the other casters. If you haven't heard any of our other Colossal episodes, go listen to them. So, first thing we're going to do is talk about synergies within the faction. So, Jake, as a Menoth player, why don't you take us through some of the synergies in the solos?
He just said he plays Trolls.
I don't really know if I'm actually a Menoth player, even though I own the entire faction, except for Amon Adraza. But, sure, I'll humor you. What am I doing again?
I'll just do it. Don't worry about it.
He's got it.
Okay, so going through the solos and Menoth, mentioning synergies they have with the Colossal.
Oh, I can do that.
Okay.
I can definitely do that. Well, If are we gonna take it from the top of the war room list, or do you want to have
just
a particular
don't
order?
mention ones that have no synergy. Just mention the ones that obviously will have something to do with it.
So obviously, I should mention the Exemplar Errant Seneschal 5 times.
I will drop you from the Skype call.
Fair enough. Synergies: High Paladin, Dart, and Vilman. You kind of got some synergies there because Impervious Wall standing in front of a Colossal is always fun. You can deny landing space in front of it, particularly if they have another Colossal. It's always great fun to do. Initiate Tristan Durant. That is a whole can of worms talking about Tristan, but long and short version is 2 focus to the Avatar every turn, plus putting Fortify on him. It's pretty good, okay?
Well, yeah.
We can't do that to the Avatar because it's not part of it. But you mean
Why did I say
Judicator.
Avatar? I meant to say the Judicator.
Mm-hmm. You got
God, at least this is how long it's been since I played Menoth. Reclaimer, obviously you could put focus on your Judicator if you so choose, but seeing as how it gets a focus from its reliquary already, it's maybe not necessarily the most needed. Covenant, I don't know, can't be knocked on already. I guess you could give it flaming direct hits, which, meh. And I guess you could prevent spells up close, which also meh. Maybe. I don't know, I'm trying to think of a situation where something would want to come into you and use that. Maybe Butcher 3 to prevent him from flashing blading, but I don't know. Vassal Mechanic, pretty obvious. Repairing your Colossal is always good, even though at Repair 8, they fail constantly. Vassal of Menoth, if you don't know what the Vassal of Menoth does, then you need to go buy the Protectorate deck on War Room, or just go buy the book. Or just
Liven
play
for the
Protector.
Well, I am going to interrupt there because there is something a lot of people don't think about that you need to be prepared for is that like turn 1 the Judicator can run, and having a very long range on its guns, the Vassal can walk up behind it and ancillary attack it. So it has an extremely long threat range once you count into effect the drifting on the AoEs. So just that point is slightly beyond the obvious.
And that only works. That doesn't work on heavies because the back of their base is too far away. But it works really easily with the Colossals. You can actually deploy your Vassal in like 4 to 5 inches on either side of your Colossal when you're deploying, and it can still reach it because the Colossal base is so big.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really easy to deploy that thing and still get lots of ancillary potential.
Racks, they can give your caster more focus to put on the Judicator, I guess. There's no direct synergies, but it's a roundabout synergy for focus allocation.
That's fair.
And yeah. That's a wrap up. I want to kind of go back and revisit. So Tristan Durant, we'll probably have to go over him more when we talk about which casters you'll actually be taking the Judicator with, whether or not it's worth putting the Judicator on the caster themselves or sticking it on Tristan. I mean, one of the big reasons you stick it on Tristan is the armor buff, obviously. So if you're playing a no Defender's Ward caster, then that's huge. And even if you are playing a Defender's Ward caster, you know, Pikrios and Sevi both like having a little extra focus in their back pocket, particularly Sevi. So you may want to consider that.
Not to mention touch it, and now you can't be TK'd or slammed or knocked down or nothing. You can sit a caster right in front of it and not have to worry about any of that stuff.
Well, you can still be TK'd. It only prevents knockdown pushers before slam move.
TK's not. Oh,
it's
not place.
sidekick off of Jake's that prevents placement.
Oh, I thought Fortifier was placement. I learned something today.
Armor buff Judicators are really good.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to go through units real quick, and then we'll get into rating the casters with the Colossal. Obvious first choice, Choir of Menoth. Giving it battle is huge. Passage is actually better than you would expect. Not being able to shoot a Colossal and wither it down before it gets there is nice, but I don't know if it's worth not battling it. As far as units go, Zealots can jam in front of it, being basically immune. Makes it really hard to get to. It's very important. And then Visgoth, Rovan, and the Honor Guard, giving it basically true sight. The ability to see through clouds and stealth is pretty nice.
Would you say that since it almost always gets battle because it has such long range, and you might want to protect your other jacks, is it worth having his own like unit acquire, just so the other ones are not having to battle every turn if you need them to do something else?
Probably not, because for the cost of the extra unit acquire, you could take 2 mechanics and probably weather the shooting storm a lot too. It kind of depends on the situation, but I doubt I'd ever take a second unit acquire unless I had at least 4 or 5 jacks.
You miss cleansers. They can put a firewall in front of it.
That's true.
Denies 1 wound infantry.
Yeah, if you spend 7 points, you can put a wall of fire in front of your Colossal.
You also have a few other synergies with some mercs. The obvious one is, Gorman with any Colossal being able to blind your own Colossal on your turn to prevent it from being blinded on theirs.
Or to prevent the enemy, or you could just potentially blind the enemy Colossal as well.
Right. And then, maybe not super relevant because of the fact that his rocket pods aren't crazy accurate, but Terran to open up some line of sight if you're playing against an enemy Colossus or not taking peak Rios.
Yeah. Can Menoth take Victor Pendra?
I don't
Victor,
believe so.
no.
I don't think so, yeah.
You can't take Victor.
But he can only give additional die to units.
No, I was thinking about knocking something down with his bola.
Right.
And then shooting it with rockets. I think we're about ready to talk about the casters now. We can mention other synergies that they have with specific models while we're rating the casters.
A general honorable mention goes out to Iona and Holt because they're amazing with everything. And magic weapons on your 18-point model when you need it is invaluable.
So let's get into these casters. We're going to start with Fiora 1.
You have a huge base to proc Effigy of Valor off of, or Blazing Effigy?
Blazing Effigy.
Yeah. Effigy of Valor is an objective.
I knew that one, but they both have
Blazing Effigy is, it's kind of interesting, but it doesn't things, aren't things already dying anyway because you're battling flamethrowers and blasts and stuff you could just put at the bottom of your base too? Yes, you could clear it out before it activated, like if you actually only had 2 inches of guys around, but it's only if your opponent put everything within 2 inches of it, which...
Well, to be fair, as far as the sprays near its base are very narrow, and if you have anything else to target, you're probably going to hit 1, maybe 2 guys with it. So if they fully charge a unit into it, you might take out a couple of them first. Blazing FG would still be really valuable. And also it prevents them from jamming it. Like, I need to get my Colossal in the zone, and you put Boom Howlers in front of it, I can usually kill a decent amount of the Boom Howlers.
Hey, here's Max's. You could do double Wall of Fire with the cleansers.
Yeah!
Well, one of the problems is, so you don't actually get all that many targets for Blazing Effigy because you have a Wall of Fire to protect it from infantry getting in melee with it. I played a lot of P. Fiora before the Judicator came out when I was in Menoth the first time, and her goal has always been to me just use your army to kill all of their army and force their caster to come get within 12 inches of her.
Engine of Destruction!
Which, I don't know, Judicator doesn't particularly help out with that.
True. So, covering the synergies with this caster, we've got obviously the first one being Blazing Effigy, then Ignite, giving it POW 22 or 24 on its melee weapons and critical fire, and then the Wall of Fire protected as well. Also, the feat kind of setting all their stuff within her control on fire could potentially clear out a lot of things that are threatening it.
And are we just counting the thing as battled all the time? Is that just for...
Potentially.
For simplicity's sake.
It always counts on the matchup, but yeah.
Yeah.
So since she's the first caster we're doing, we're going to rate her in at a 7 out of 15. Is there anything else people want to point out before we move on? I guess Engine of Destruction's potentially a synergy with it, because if anything was able to get to the Judicator to kill it, she can kill it back. I don't know if that's something, but...
Maybe.
If their last-ditch effort is to kill your Judicator and they send in some really nice heavy, and then you can counter with her going into it.
She's a lot better at killing casters within
That's true.
Right. I was going to say, I don't know what she goes in... The things you send to one round, Judy, would be things like Mulg or Bronzebacks and that kind of stuff. I don't know if you want to send her into that.
A Mulg that's out of stone.
POW 17, she would need to probably have Ignite on herself. And there you have at least a 3 focus investment. So I don't know if she has enough focus left over to kill something really beefy. Yeah.
No, I agree. I'm just saying it is something.
I see where you're coming from, though.
Moving on, Fiora 2, next on the list, has a Warjack bond, oddly. A target non-character Warjack in Fiora's battle group begins the game with bonded to her. Standard bond abilities, you can allocate up to 4 focus. Models hit by range or melee attacks made by this Warjack, while in the Warjack is in her control area, suffer the fire continuous effect. Obviously is going to be put on your Judicator if you have one. It's probably one of the best bonds in the game, I think.
And having four 3-inch templates that all cause fire for everything is just stupidly good.
I don't know. I think that the fact that the flamethrower already causes fire is just too... you're just putting mayonnaise on mayonnaise.
Yeah, I know.
The flamethrower is not 16 or 14-inch range, though. So.
That's an incredible joke, because that is the stupidest comment I've ever made. That, of course, this is the most dumb jack for her in the entire freaking planet. It's also amazing.
She cures the Judicator's biggest weakness of being slow. She makes
Yes.
it speed 6 instead of speed 4.
Well, hold on, you're
Escort.
getting ahead of it. Hold
Escort.
on. Yeah. Convection is first.
Ooh, oh, sorry.
Oh, go wait. Start that synergy train. Here we go.
All right. Then escort.
Okay.
It also gives her a jack that is going to be pushed away from her, so she's always going to have her escort bonus unless she gets slammed away. And then obviously +2 movement to the jack. And then ignite. Is there other synergy with it?
Also, her feet being able to allocate it focus.
Yeah. She get allocated focus after she does everything.
And then there's the synergy that Judicator has with her lighting everything on fire for her to pull fire off of.
Right.
Yeah.
There's so much synergy.
They feed each other so hard, and the trick about escort is you want to keep something around your caster that can still contribute to the battle. Like putting escort up when you have something like Old Rowdy is okay, but then as soon as he does his thing he wants to do, you're no longer getting benefit of escort. With that huge base, the massive range, you're getting to do everything you want to do, and you're never outside of that 3 inches. It's so easy to keep that all game long.
All
Like,
right.
isn't it like she can actually the Judicator can actually touch something? What 3 base size is like 5 or a little bit more than 5, then 2 more. That's 10 inches away from her. The Judicator is actually smacking into melee, and she's still getting escort.
Yeah, just about. It's actually like 9.8 inches, but yeah, it's a long way.
Also, there's the super secret tech of using Fiora to line up sprays with your Judicator, because she's immune to fire.
Yeah, she gives no craps.
Because it's always a good idea to have Fiora ahead of your Judicator. Always.
Yeah.
Also, she can fire step to clear out things really hard, really fast. It's easy to fire step. Just move up, fire step to kill everything. Move out of the thing's way. It does whatever it wants at that point.
Okay, so it's clear that we all think that Fiora 2 is awesome, so I'm going to rate her above Fiora 1, and we're going to move on. Okay, so next I have on the list is Krios 1. Synergies, we have Defender's Ward, Lamentation, potentially, to keep harmful spells away from it, Purification to get rid of debuffs, and his feet, making it very accurate and protected.
Why did you...
Because he's going prime first and then epic.
He's going through the
I
base.
thought he was going in order.
No, I'm not going in War Room order.
Okay.
I have a list.
I was going to say, the very first time I ever saw Judicator was with Prime Krios, and I immediately arced an eyebrow going like, what? And then I saw it start to work, like, because Defender's Ward, you put the Defender's Ward up on the frontline guys, usually Errants or whatever it is up front, and then later game you stack it back on Judicator, and it's so hard to kill in the late game. You're like, what are you going to do on turn 4 to kill that thing? It's just so difficult. Purification helps whenever it attacks anything that needs to die, and it's got some sort of defensive stat buff.
I think the answer to this is that Krios just has such powerful abilities and so vanilla abilities that he's good with anything. But the Judicator does have some, I don't know I can't remember the word for it, but it's subtle synergies with it that aren't obvious, like, giving it the extra turn to wade through infantry, like knocking everything down so they can't charge it, gives it basically a time walk against damage from infantry. Defender's Ward puts it to the point where normal infantry can't hurt it. It has to be good infantry. And then he's, just killing everything because he's got battle and purification.
Rocket pods are accurate on the feet turn, too.
Right.
And you can purify off debuffs that may end up on your Judicator.
You can actually just smack it with Krios too. That actually can happen. It's really funny. Just like love tap your friend, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm better. I feel better."
Save yourself the focus if you need to.
Yeah. So, how do we feel about him? Is he better or worse than Fiora 1?
Better.
I would say better than Fiora 1.
Now, are you saying that because Krios 1 is a better caster, or because he has better synergies?
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Okay, then I can tell you're biased.
The feet alone actually fixes it because the Judicator can put out so many attacks by itself, and volume of attack rolls. Like, you only have 2 sprays, but that could be like 8 attack rolls if you get a nice placement. So you've got, and Krios just says blanketing. I'm just making all those for a turn. Right? So.
Now, remember,
it's
when we rate these, we're rating them from the perspective of the Judicator. So, if you're building a list and you say, all right, first edition, Judicator, you haven't added a caster yet, and then you go from there and say, which caster do I want to pair with? Is Krios going to make it the best Judicator it can be, or is it going to be Fiora 1?
It's not going to be Fiora 1. No.
Okay, so we're going to go with Krios is going to be coming in at a 6, which is, I assume, going to push Fiora 2 up to a 5?
Yes.
All right. I'm pretty sure we all agree that
we put her down.
Yeah.
Below what?
Pretty sure we all agree Fury 2 is the best, but we're going to go as the standard order. So moving on, next caster, Krios 2.
Not
His
a whole
possible
lot.
synergies.
You can give it Fearless.
That's true.
You can make it
All right,
auto
well,
hit.
plus
all
2
its
armor.
attacks.
To be fair,
The very first synergy you see on the card. The very first one is Imperishable Conviction. If the Judicator is destroyed, then Krios would heal 1 damage point.
that's true. That's true.
That is a expensive heal.
The Judicator just looks back at him and like connects eyes. He's like, "Live," and then the Judicator dies.
Wait, but there's more. If you cast Castigate on the Judicator, then if a warrior model kills the Judicator, that warrior model is knocked down.
That's true. I think you mean Sacrosanct. I think you said Castigate.
Or yeah,
Sacrosanct.
Sacrosanct.
Yeah, I guess that's also a thing. Castigate, removing arc nodes makes casters get oddly close to it to debuff it. So I mean that's something.
Yeah.
But if you are somebody who's debuffing it, you're debuffing it usually in such a way that
it's going to be dead
going
before
to
you go
die.
again. Yeah.
Right.
But you'll heal a point when it does. So we've already established that's really strong.
you're right.
They may not kill it if you have Inviolable Resolve on it, which is a good synergy, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair, yeah, Invaluable Resolve is awesome. Moving on to his feat, Strength of Arms. Having it auto-hit your caster is bad. Don't let Adjudicator auto-hit your caster 3 times in melee.
No.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that is actually probably the strongest synergy here, is that it keeps people honest. You can't move up Terminus and be like, I'm going to go toe-to-toe with your Adjudicator because it's just going to kill you.
Right.
Yeah. On Krios 2's feet turn, completely independent of Krios allocating it any focus, it could charge using its reliquary focus and auto-hit 3 POW 20 attacks.
Yeah. And that's before
POW
Choir.
22.
I mean,
Generally, yeah.
yeah, that might be enough to straight up kill it heavy with no focus investment from Krios himself.
Right. Now, I mean, we all know that Krios 2 is probably never going to take Adjudicator, but we're just looking at the possibility of it.
It's at 8 at that point anyway, so on most heavies it needs a 4 to hit. So yes, it does invite a chance, but yeah.
I was thinking
probably-
more like the Sorsha behind a wall concept, like he doesn't understand how the feat works, and you're just like, ha, and you just charge and barely get melee range, and it's like one-shot their caster, basically, because you have to roll a hit.
And giving
I'm
it
trying to think of a
a
Warcaster in the game that doesn't have at least a 10-inch control area.
Oh, no, you'll be able to measure the distance, but you can put it there and be like, you cannot get within this distance of me, unless you have some way to prevent me from getting to you.
And just in general, giving another melee attack to a Colossal is pretty good, just from the standpoint of that they're such high-value attacks.
Mhm.
I mean, we can talk about how his feat is useful for the Judicator, but obviously it's much more useful when it's spread across 15 models for those 18 points instead of 1.
Right.
No, yeah, I understand. So, how do we think he is? Is he better or worse than Fiora 1?
Worse.
Yeah, worse.
Worse.
Yeah.
I'm sad now. I was going to say better. Moving on to the next caster on the list, Incessor Krios, Krios 3. Or Threos,
That Warpath.
Warpath OP.
But he can trigger.
Still has Imperishable Conviction.
Yep.
Important to note.
Still kill that point. Death Sentence is actually really good with his sprays targeting a unit.
Yes, or rockets even, really.
Yeah.
Also, Holy Ward is not really good on him, but it is something. The plus 2
you
defense
protect
is
spells.
practically irrelevant, but not targetable by spells, can help against cricks. Ignite,
Force Hammer. You can knock down their caster with a Force Hammer.
true.
Bombard with Judicator Rocket.
And the feat would allow him to allocate focus to the Judicator and still have all of his upkeeps.
It's actually really not... It has some really good synergies, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Like, good. It has a fair number of them, and most of them are fairly high impact. I still don't think you would usually take a Judicator with Krios,
Yeah, most likely.
but...
The stuff he wants is so expensive. He loves
Yeah.
expensive
Yeah.
stuff.
It's actually not a terrible synergy, but you still probably wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I generally agree. So,
It's better than Krios 2.
you think it is better than Krios 2?
Yeah.
So.
But
In
worse
fact,
than
I would-
Fiora? Or is it better
I don't
than
know.
Fiora?
It may be better than Fiora.
It might be.
Yeah, because it has Ignite also,
Yeah, both have
which
Ignite.
was Fiora's big one.
We're basically asking if Holy Ward, Death Sentence, and his feet are better than Fiora's feet and Blazing Effigy. And Wall of Fire.
Force Hammer, I think, is one you didn't even say that's super good. Because he casts that from
Yeah.
range 12, usually. And with
It
Ride
boosts
By,
the-
that's pretty
boosts
long
the
range.
range accuracy of the Judicator.
I think it's better for no other reason that he usually just runs one Jack, And if you're like, well, if I have 7 more points in the list or thereabouts, 8 or 7 more points, then just why not the Judicator? Because he's, for the reasons we just said.
I actually
I would
feel
say,
like he usually likes to run 2 to 3 heavies.
Agree. I think Krios 3 usually runs.
Warpath is pretty
Really?
legit.
Yeah, I've never seen him with less than 2 or 3 heavies.
Oh, I forgot Warpath.
Yeah.
I forgot Warpath.
Quit
I never
making
see
stuff
that
up.
I never see.
So many
Now,
varied
it takes up a
uses.
lot of points, and you wouldn't be running Vengers if you're playing a Judicator, I would guess. But,
But he's so good with Vendors.
Judicator could definitely trigger Warpath.
Here's a consideration. If you did take a Judicator with Krios, would you take it on Tristan to give him that armor buff?
That'd probably be good because he would like to have his focus for other things.
Yeah.
I would say probably. If you're going to run a Judicator with him, probably. Because he can still trigger Warpath. It doesn't require a battle group or anything.
And
You could also
the
put Holy
Judicator's
Word on
ability-
Tristan, make him harder to kill.
I really like Max's point there that Judicator can trigger Warpath really easily for the Jack in Krios' battle group to take advantage of.
Right.
It's a consideration.
So, better or worse than Krios 2?
Better.
Better.
Better or worse than Fiora, though?
Fiora 1, I think he's better
I
than
think
because
he's
he boosts
better.
range with Death Sentence and
If we're,
Warhammer.
if we're talking like just the Judicator with the caster, we don't know what they usually like to run or what kind of compositions they have. I
Mhm.
think he's better with Krios. But if you want to talk about like army composition and what they like, what they want, I think it's going to be really tough to
Yeah.
find space for him in Intercessor Krios.
We're not rating
Yeah.
on how well the caster wants a Judicator. It's all about the Judicator being good with the caster.
Then definitely Krios is better.
Okay. Better or worse than Krios 1?
Worse.
Worse.
I think
Worse.
worse. So that means I'm going to push Krios and Fiora 2 up. Right now we have at an 8 Krios 2, at a 7 Fiora 1, at a 6 Krios 3, at a 5 Krios 1, at a 4 Fiora 2. Moving on to Sevi 1. So first obvious synergy here is going to be probably Eye of Menoth. Death Sentence
House
as
and
well.
blast damage is really scary.
Yeah.
So dumb.
Vision, not bad either if you know that they're limited on the attacks they can put into your
Or
feet.
if you know you're only going to charge once.
Right.
Yeah.
The feat is pretty nice because if you're going against Warmachine, you can deny their ability to put focus on their heavies, and then the Judicator's really not scared of whatever they have.
Also, going back to what you're saying on Krios 2, having Castigate, actually being able to take away Arc Node ability can potentially create Arc Nodes from getting us creative on you.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually hit him with Ashes to Ashes, and then everything dies around him, which is really easy to do because you don't have to worry about firing in a melee penalty with him, so you can hit him in the back and everything dies. Or hopefully everything dies.
Defender's Ward is obviously really good on him.
Super, super strong.
There's a lot of really good synergies here. I think one of the big questions is Eye of Menoth, because Eye of Menoth is probably the biggest thing. Vision's really good, as is Defender's Ward, but Eye of Menoth is probably the biggest thing. Is Eye of Menoth a greater amplitude effect, or is Krios 1's feat? Which is kind of weird to compare a spell to a feat, but Eye of Menoth is that good of a spell.
I think in the long run during the game, Eye of Menoth might make a difference over Krios' feat. It really depends on what you're playing against, though.
Yeah, there's enough stuff that ignores knockdown.
Well, it's the stuff that ignores knockdown and, like, how many times do you miss by one on important shots, stuff like that. And also, and this might be a list where you would potentially put the Judicator on Tristan because all of Sevi's abilities are not battle group, and that just gives him more focus to throw around.
The battle group with
Ooh,
Jack.
that's evil. I like that.
Yeah, and
I
then
like that.
you
I
can
like
put
that.
Defender's Ward on, like, the Avatar and stand the Avatar right next to the Judicator and just wait to see what they do.
I feel like an enlivened Defender's Warded Avatar staying right in front of the Judicator when it's got Fortify on it so the Avatar can't be knocked down is really scary. Because you can't, if it's like a Colossal or a Heavy, you can possibly deny the charge lane, but then the Avatar can then scoot away after it's done that job. But that's a lot of points that you're investing at that point, because you're going to have Blessing of Vengeance, and then plus Judicator and Avatar, and right there you've got, 37 points tied up.
37, yeah.
If only there was a small unit that could put out a large number of damage over time. If only there was one in Menoth.
Are you pointing
Oh,
out
there's like 4.
Zealots?
Yes.
Okay.
And there's like 3 others. I think Errants are actually undercosted in my opinion too. So
Well, they're not undercosted when you look at how many points you actually spend on them. But yeah, if you look at them as an 8-point unit, they're way undercosted. But that's because you have to buy the UA, the solo, and then like Rupert and maybe the book, and then it's like, oh, it's 14 points. So like, you're fine.
Right. But you don't always have to do all that.
No,
for them to be.
It makes a drastic difference on the amount of survivability and work they do.
Right.
Back to the straight up like Judicator based on Sevi's synergies alone. I mean,
if you were asking me which one I would reach for first, it would probably be Sevi. But that's just out of habit of less
over
building.
Krios? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We're talking about he's got probably the most synergy spell list in the faction for him.
Well, Sevi just probably has the most synergy for anything.
Well, I was going to say that,
specific.
but that's not really what we're talking about.
Right.
But, I mean, there's literally not a spell on his card that's worthless except for maybe you'd say Immolate, but...
And even there, top 14 Immolates off of Blessing.
Hey, man, it's 13.
15.
15, sorry.
Yeah. It's really good for a 2 cost.
Well, the first one's a POW 15.
Right.
Yeah, that's why you cast Ashes instead.
All right, so let's rate this guy. I'm going to start at Krios 1. Is he better or worse than Krios 1?
Better.
Oh, that's such a hard question.
I would say better.
That's better as well.
I think straight up just by number of synergies, it's got to be better.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's better with the contingency that Krios 1's feat opens up a lot more assassination potential, whereas Judicator is probably better in a attrition long-term game. And I think we're at a point in the game right now that the attrition game is more powerful than the assassination game.
I agree with that.
So I would have to say Sevi is better.
Okay. Fiora 2.
I don't know. That's a whole other thing we could go into at some point. I feel like assassinations become a dirty word. If you win that way, you're not doing it right.
Well,
why are you
just saying?
Yeah.
Brandon just said on the last episode, wasn't it that like the biggest problem Menoth players make is playing for turns 2 and 3 when they should be playing for turns 4 and 5?
Yeah, but we don't listen to that podcast.
Oh, okay.
I think I said
Fiora,
that.
I think Fiora 2 has a better Judicator than Sevi 1.
Absolutely.
I would absolutely agree. So I'm going to push Fiora up to a 3 and put Sevi in at a 4.
Yep.
I would actually say that you guys, you seem like it's an easy choice. I think actually Sevi is very close.
No,
I don't disagree.
I've just played both, and I think Fiora 2 is better.
Right.
That's why it's an automatic choice for me.
Right. I agree that it's better just because they both feed off each other so hard. But man, Sevi you just love that guy.
Yeah.
Loves that big guy.
Agreed. I mean, being able to aim and make those range 14 rocket pods still rat 6. Pretty legit.
For an old guy,
and
he's
they're
still
POW 17. And Sevi also has a nice synergy where he likes to hide behind huge bases.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm old. So old.
Okay, moving on to Hierarch Severius, Sevi 2. First thing, Warjack Bond.
Yeah.
Once again, can give it 4 focus. This one is interesting. Once per turn when the Warjack is directly hit by an attack and can immediately spend 1 focus point to not suffer a damage roll from that attack. Basically vision, but you get to choose when it procs.
That is such a ridiculously good ability.
That's so, It makes it so hard to one round. And just, it's so annoying.
When you can just eat the charge attack off of like a Warpwolf Stalker or something like that.
Look, Gedrix charge you. It's like, okay.
Yeah, especially when you combine that with the passage. And...
Yeah. Now, to be fair, if you could put that on, like, Avatar, which you cannot, but if you could, oh my god, I think people would quit this game.
Oh god.
Yeah.
I charge your Avatar, it takes no damage. I hit it again, Ironline's away. I hate my life.
Brandon, that's 73.
That's 73? Yep. Okay. Awareness, 3 cost spell. The front arc of Warjacks in your battle group extend to 360 degrees, ? If you read War Room. And then, when determining line of sight, ignore clouds and forests and intervening models for determining line of sight. That's ridiculous.
I think it's read while in this model's control area, the front arcs of the models in this battle group are extended to 360?
Yeah, that's how you read it.
Yeah.
I think the question mark comes because of all the weird interactions there are with Colossal Fields of Fire and 306-degree vision.
No, I think it's just a typo in War Room.
I would
pretty sure.
I would love if that was on purpose. It's just like, we don't really know.
So there are 2 major negatives with having the 306-degree vision and fire arcs. For one, there's the old
You don't take
no
the
free strike if they walk into your back arc.
Mhm.
Also, if you charge something with awareness up, you don't turn to directly face it, so you don't get both your initial attacks.
What? I didn't know about that one.
Ooh, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, if you have 360-degree vision and you charge something, you don't turn at the end of your movement because you're already facing it directly, because your entire 360 degrees is directly facing.
Now, you might be correct on that. Where did you get that information?
On Muse episode 2, I want to say 13 or 14, there were...
I don't remember hearing that, but I do
Oh,
believe
no, it was...
that you are
I
lying.
think it was on Muse board. That is how it works.
I was actually talking to a judge, and they told me that if the model has the ability to lose 360-degree line of sight, you still turn to face as normal. Like Butcher 2, you would never turn to face because he cannot lose 360. But if it was like Great Bears, you do turn to face because they may possibly lose it.
So Deathjack would never turn to face.
Right, Deathjack would never turn to face.
Well, Deathjack can lose it
How can he lose
if
it?
both his arms are crippled.
Oh, is it while he has both an arm?
Pretty
Anyway.
sure you're right. I'm pretty sure it is both
So
arms.
it depends. So, but that's, I mean,
Right, that
part of
might be
is-
something else. The other thing is you can basically take not free strikes from it by walking out of its front arc but staying within 2 inches of it, and then once you're completely in its back arc, step out of its melee because it's only allowed to make attacks within the arcs, despite the fact it can still see you.
Right. If you're aware of that, of those drawbacks and limitations of awareness, the benefits probably still outweigh.
Yeah, I would agree. Fear of God can potentially protect it, getting Fear of God on enemy unit.
Mainly denying special attacks.
Yeah.
Charges.
The only downside is he doesn't really have an armor buff for it, as where Sevi 1 does. And you really couldn't put this on Tristan because you want the bond to be on it,
And you'd also lose awareness, wouldn't you?
and you would lose awareness. The feat
Which I
could...
think is really the reason to play Sevi 2 if you're going
Yeah.
to play a Judicator would be the awareness. I mean, that's the main thing. The bond is super good too, but the big thing is I can target whatever models I want because I don't care about intervening or line of sight or anything like that. And also, I feel like you'd play Roven at that point.
Jake.
There's not like tons and tons of directly adjudicator synergies, but that's just how Sevi 2 is. He's a very toolboxy caster. He's got a little bit of everything. He's not going to be entirely focused on supporting his battle group, but he has a few very situationally very powerful battle group buffs.
Okay. I think we're ready to raid him. Let's start at around the Fiora 2 mark. No, let's go with Krios 2. Is he better or worse than Krios 2?
Better.
Better.
I think he's better as well. What about
Better for bond alone.
Fiora 1? Blazing Effigy?
Better.
I think he's better
The
than that.
bond itself.
Yep.
Krios 3.
Yeah.
Force Hammer.
Still better.
Still better?
Yes. Better.
Alright.
Yeah, better.
Krios 1.
No.
No. I think that's where he hits his...
Awareness and Bond.
Well, knocking everything down in your control area conveniently lets you ignore intervening models as well.
It does. It doesn't let you get through the clouds.
This is true.
And Fear of God also
Roven
starts the units from charging you anyway.
Yes.
The only thing awareness gives you that feat plus Roven does not give you is forced.
hmm Right, yeah. Force is... which is conveniently the popular thing to try and ignore right now.
True.
Meh.
If Sevi 2 is going to be your Bradigus answer, I guess that's very important, but purely based on, how powerful is the Judicator thanks to this caster, I think Krios 1 is better.
Yeah. I think armor buff is pretty huge. I think
it's
armor
actually
buff...
steady.
I think an armor buff in the end, because you're talking about enduring multiple attacks, an armor buff in the end is actually removing more damage than the one ignored attack.
But, I mean, in a situation where you're passaging because you're going against another gun line, ignoring their one magical gun is huge. I am going to bring something up because I never knew this. Admonisher on Sevi 2's gun isn't on his gun. It's just a rule he has. So if he hits something in melee, it channels as well.
Yep.
I did not know that. That's
But
really...
it's only an enemy model. You can't whack the Judicator in the back and get it.
Yeah, but he also has Creator's Wrath, though, so he can actually be vaguely scary in melee. I'd never even occurred to me.
Yeah, PAL 13 with 4 dice. Pretty good.
Alright, so I'm hearing that we do not think he is better than Krios 1.
I will argue with that, but I agree.
I
I'm
think
just
it's
thinking
close.
I'm thinking about if I'm sitting across with my army, like I'm sitting across from you, and it's Judicator, and it's either Severius behind him or Picreos behind him, I think I'm actually a little bit more nervous about Sevi, because I can't kill the Judicator. Basically, if it's Sevi behind there, I'm not killing the Judicator ever. Like, the Judicator's going to get to go everything around. I can't kill him. Can't kill him with a unit. Can't kill him with a heavy. I just can't kill him.
Okay.
So, like, that's why I would put him above it. With Picreos, I might actually be able to do it, because I can still get heavies to him by forcing once or giving him one focus, and now he's stood up and now he goes.
Okay.
I might be able to do it. That's what I would say.
All right. So you're voting for Sevi.
I think Sevi is stronger than Picreos. Yeah.
Okay. Max, you think Krios?
Mm-hmm.
Jake?
Krios, I have to stick with.
Jeremy?
Curious.
I really think Armor 19 is not that hard to kill. I agree that ignoring one big hit is an
It's really
awesome
nice.
ability, but that also means you're not getting the full use out of all your focus. I mean, you are, but you're leaving one out.
Right. It does get a free one, and you can stack it to 4.
Correct, but that chews up a lot of what Severius is doing if he's casting awareness, giving it 3.
I
He's
just
got
think
2 focus left.
if you're passaging Judicator and using the bond to keep them safe from their magic guns, that Judicator's actually not doing all that much with awareness.
That's fair.
Because at that point, it's only flat pass up and blast damage.
So I'm going to rate Sevi to just below Krios at a 6. I'm going to push everyone else down. Moving on to the next caster I have on the list. Oh, and I just did want to bring this up real quick. It's odd that we rated... I kind of agree that Krios is probably overall better, but you very commonly with Sevi 2 see a Judicator, and you never see a Judicator with Krios 1.
But that's not what we're talking about.
I know, I'm just...
And
it's
you
interesting.
specifically said that.
No, I agree with what we've been grading. I think people need to start trying that. Like, I wonder if people just, because they think of the Krios 1 list in their head, and it hasn't had a Judicator in it, because Krios 1 was popular way before the Judicator was, before it was even out. So I'm just curious if people haven't gotten into that design space yet. Because
John Damaris did.
Shut up.
Well, and
That's what
right now, people just automatically associate Sevi 2 with Adjudicator thanks to Brandon Kading.
Yeah. But I mean, even before that, every time I ever saw Sevi 2, I saw Judicator, which was not often. High Allegiant Amon Raza.
Mobility is mobility is not strictly worse than Escort because it's 2 speed instead of 2 movement. So you do get to run 12 inches instead of 10. But by and large, mobility's huge benefit is Pathfinder.
Most Menoth players would say that it's just straight better than Escort.
Well, but not on Judicator, though, because he already has Pathfinder. And Pathfinder's like the big reason why mobility is such a...
Well, but it is, because you can run 12 instead of 10.
So let's say you're taking an Judicator, Choir, and a Vassal. Would you rather, run your Judicator up 12 inches and have your Vassal ancillary attack him with his Pow 9 blast damage? Or would you rather run him 10 inches, have him ancillary attack out a rocket that lights everything under it on fire?
We're not comparing the bond on Fura 2 to mobility, though. We're comparing mobility to Escort.
Incorrect. I would rather have my caster be 15-19 or 15-18. Is it 19?
There you go.
Okay, there you go. Yeah. Then
she's a
16-14.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm talking like you were saying that it's as good as Escort. The spells compared to each other, mobility is better.
Mobility is better. Well, there is the downside of mobility being a not upkeep, costs you 2 every time.
True. But you can spend rack focus on that, so it's actually about the same. For 1 point in your 50-point list, it's basically the same focus cost. And also, with his feat, you actually want to spend focus on his feat turn.
No, it's definitely, I would say, slightly better. Just because I think it's actually a pretty big deal being able to run 12.
Yeah.
It's 2 more inches of position.
Run 12 on anything in this game. Like, if you jump up from 4 to 6 that very first turn, it's the reason why people try to get to tier 4 on so many different lists, trying to get to that plus 2.
Plus 2 speed. Yeah, because you can
It's
immediately
so
make all your models relevant.
Right.
So mobility... Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, and on something this big that you know is not going to be completely disabled or removed first turn, that's not going to happen, so you putting it out 12 is not a giant risk. So...
Right.
Okay. So mobility is obvious synergy. Other ones on this guy, convection.
Synergy?
and
That's
synergy.
not a very good synergy. Convection.
It just doesn't really matter.
Convection works. It just doesn't.
Because he's already high mat, high pow.
Right. We do have to mention it, though. And then the feat, which is on his feat turn, every point of focus he spends, he gets to allocate one focus to a jack in his battle group that is in his control area when he spends the focus. And then...
oh, you missed a part. Perfect
No,
balance.
I was reading that now.
Okay.
Warjacks in Amon's battle group gain perfect balance.
You make him immune to being targeted by CRAs per turn. That's decent.
CMAs as well.
I actually think that since Amon desperately wants guys who can produce their own focus in some way, the Judicator actually, the making one focus actually helps a lot, because then he's only giving that thing 2 focus, and he's able to give that focus away to more jacks in his battle group.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's actually, in my opinion, a really huge thing, that the Judicator has that one focus is actually really big for him.
Mm-hmm.
So if we traded Amon's feat for, like, Viros 1, would he just be amazing? Where if you kill something, you get a focus?
He'd have one
He
turn
would
where it was just retarded, because synergy would just go really, really high.
Sorry, Jake, what'd you say?
He would be Bradigus without Force.
You think so? I think it'd be...
I don't think it'd be quite that bad.
Well, it's a different... Bradigus is
It's
annoying
fundamentally the
because
same thing, right? Because you've got... Well, yeah, but
they don't get infinite attacks. In fact, they're actually very... Except for 2 models in this list, they're very limited on how many attacks they get to make.
So just from a standpoint of, if he had, like, Virus 1's feet, then, like, everything could just cascading charge. And then you could also do really cool stuff with, like... Would be really crazy if that was the case, would actually be Templars, because then they could beat back into awesome positions and just kill everything.
Templars would just basically be Crusher feet. And I think it'd be amazing. Anyway.
Which is exactly why it won't ever happen.
I don't know what you're talking about. Viros 3, man, is going to have Synergy and Viros 1's feet. I hope that does not happen.
As far as the Judicator is concerned, though, I still just like... Mobility is good. +2 speed on a Judicator is a good effect.
Mm-hmm.
And focus allocation is always good on Judicator. But that's all Amon offers, is
Synergy is limited at
I think
best.
the fuel cache and the objectives, being able to take what you want, has helped him too. Because fuel cache is a pretty big deal.
It put him back on the map as opposed to not even anywhere.
Which makes you want more lights rather than a Judicator.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not bad to have your super heavy target.
It's not bad to have, because when your threat range is 11.
I still like the double Templar more than Judicator.
No, I don't disagree, but we're not looking at it like that.
Right.
So quit looking at it like that.
Stop it, Jake. Stop looking at it.
The caster that we have the caster that we have last is, I believe, Krios 2.
No, we've already done him.
The worst so far has been Krios 2.
We've got Reclaimers, Thyras,
so look at
Harbingers.
Krios. So, but like looking at what we have as like so far, just go ahead and
he's asking about the lowest rank.
Hold on, everyone's kind of talking over Jake. Jake, make your point.
So I feel like even the lowest ranked one we have so far, which is Krios 2, still does more for the Judicator than Amon does.
I agree.
So that's Jake's point. Now let's rate it. You agree?
Yeah.
Jeremy? Max?
I don't know that I actually agree with that.
You think he's better than Krios 2? Krios 2 has an armor buff for it and has an auto hit feat, which is, in my opinion, as good, if not better than Synergy.
I mean,
because
Synergy is
we're
nice.
talking about something that's basically set up to be a gun platform, I gotta think an armor buff's actually better than anything else that he does. I probably would agree with that. Armor buff is a pretty big deal on things with that many boxes. When you're talking about having to weather 10 attacks before it dies, that's a lot of damage reduction. All right, so
Jake,
moving on to 40K talk. You guys missed the end of that podcast.
So that's the new podcast.
I've been thinking with my new list that I get to take, and since the army construction rules are so open, you can pretty much do whatever you want. So I'm going to take just nothing but heavy weapons from different factions. So I'm going to do like Eldar heavy weapon teams, Imperial Guard las cannons.
Why not go all
Space
Bastards?
Marines with multi-weapon. No, because that's vehicles. We're not taking vehicles. That's
okay.
so 4th edition.
Okay,
It's like,
no
come on.
vehicles.
No vehicles.
Just heavy. Okay.
Yeah, or maybe just all the special characters. We're talking about 40K. I'm going to take a great demon prince guy, and then I'm going to put an Eldar Farseer with him to make a unit, and he's going to cast Fortune, so my demon prince gets to reroll all of his saves.
Well, don't forget to add a priest.
That's true, because then they can't be targeted by spells.
Right.
Yeah. And they get to reroll their attacks.
Right.
All right, so what are you guys doing? I think Parker killed himself.
What is
The last
going
thing
on?
Those are rules of
The last thing I
40K.
heard was Brendan calling for a vote about Amon versus Krios.
And then both you guys hung up for no reason.
Yeah, then we moved on to 40K.
Yeah, okay, so our question is Raza better or worse than Krios 2?
Worse.
Parker, what's your vote?
Definitely better.
Definitely.
Plus two speed and him having one focus during feat turn is enough, in my opinion, by far.
It's better than having an armor buff and a feat that allows you to auto hit and gain a free attack.
Yes.
Huh.
For Amon. I think...
But for Judicator?
For Judicator. Okay.
What battle group would the Judicator rather be in? The one where he
Okay.
gets +2 armor, enemy models lose Arc Node, which is almost Holy Ward.
Right. Which one would he rather be in?
I'm
Plus
voting
2
for Krios
speed,
2.
Plus 2 speed,
So we have...
extra focus.
Well, the extra focus does... We're not looking at helping Amon. We're looking at helping ourselves as the...
No, I'm talking about him. I'm talking about Amon's feat gives him focus, potentially.
But it's still the focus he would just be allocated by Krios.
Okay, so you're talking about... Oh, well, then obviously Krios.
Okay. All right,
Because
because
Krios-
all of us were in agreement Krios 2 was better, and then you're like, no, he's hands down Raza, and I was like, okay,
Well, I think
make
the
a
reason
point.
why is when you're playing Colossals, the thing that I'm most concerned about when I'm playing Colossal is how am I going to fuel this thing to get my 18 points out of it, my 19 or 20 points, whatever it is I'm spending. Like, how am I able to get this thing running really highly effectively all the time? And so that means usually it's, sucking up, 2 to 3 focus from my caster at all times. So Amon can do that on his feat turn and not worry about it. But
The nice thing about Judicator is that he rarely actually needs more than the one focus that he already gets, because he's rocking Pound 9 blast damage. He's not usually going to hit anyway, so he doesn't usually need to boost a hit. You may need a focus to boost if you catch a really juicy target under one of your templates, but usually he gets by, unless you're planning on charging into melee. With shooting alone, unless you're like with Krios 1 knocking stuff down, generally speaking, that one focus is oftentimes good enough.
I've never played with him. If he's a one focus Jack, then it's got to be Krios.
Okay, so we're all in agreement. Raza comes in at number 10.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Moving on to our next caster, High Executioner Severeth Resnick. Is that how you say his dumb name?
Servath.
Servath.
It's like a Cervex, but Servath.
Resnick won. Anyway,
I was going to say he's a server, but he's serving.
first synergy of Resnick is Witch Hound. You cannot... so Witch Hound is when one or more enemy models in his battle group cast hit an... I'm tripping over myself, sorry. When one of your models is hit by an enemy magic attack, immediately after the attack is resolved, one model in this model's battle group can make a full advance and one normal attack. He cannot make the normal advance because he can't move outside of his movement step, but he does get to make the attack, and it's not limited to melee, so he could just fire a rocket pod randomly if they shoot someone with magic.
Yep.
Does that, and that triggers the additional blast because it's a normal attack?
I believe so. Let's check though to
it
make
should.
sure. Warjack's Judicator.
Yeah, it's not specific
Secondary
to
blast. After determining the point of impact, roll deviation. Yeah, it's every time it fires, regardless of why.
So you do that
There
with
you go.
ancillary, so.
Mm-hmm.
Now he won't get choir bonus on that
Right,
because
it's
choir bonus is only during your turn.
true. Well,
Right.
I guess if there was some way that they had a reactionary ability, let them shoot magic at you.
Don't think
know
that
if there's
exists.
anything that does that. I don't think so. Anyway, Hex Blast can remove enemy upkeeps from him. Ignite's not bad. Iron Aggression is good. Charge for free, potentially have 3 focus and boosted attack rolls, makes him pretty scary. And he cannot be moved by perdition, so he doesn't care about that. Potentially with defeat, you can strip all focus and upkeep spells, or even fury off of people. So he's really scary to enemy casters, if you can clear a 5-inch wide hole to them.
You don't necessarily need a 5-inch wide hole because the last little 2 inches can be
True.
itty bitty.
Yeah.
Iron Aggression is good, but I'd so much rather have a movement buff on Judicator than a charge for free.
Yeah, especially with fuel being available.
Right, and boosted attack rolls.
Boosted melee attack rolls is
good,
amazing, though.
but that kind of goes. But when you're mat 8 all the time, it's not as much of a.
Yeah.
Like boosted melee attack rolls is always good, particularly against casters. But the problem is still getting Judicator there. He's stuck with a 9-inch threat range with Resnick all the time.
Yeah, just perdition him, man. Come on. Yeah, I think the problem is all of the shenanigans of movement from Resnick are lost on the Judicator, which is a little unfortunate. Here's a tiny synergy. Resnick causes terror. Judicators is fearless, so he doesn't have to worry about that.
Oh, there you go. Not even an abomination.
I know.
He can make more racks.
So where do we want to start at him? Let's compare him to Krios 2.
Worse.
Yeah, I think worse.
Word.
We're basically comparing
Resnick.
Iron Aggression to everything Krios 2 does.
It's worse, but is it worse than Amon?
Synergy and... Yeah, pretty
Mobility.
much just synergy.
Mobility.
So I'm thinking
Yeah.
a bunch of avatars.
A bunch of avatars. That's
Yeah.
good. Strong play. Start with 4 avatars and some choir.
No. For Eldar.
Oh, it's 40k talk.
The only way I'd play is with like 8 Riptides.
8 Riptide. I saw someone
Or
doing that.
2,000 points worth of Riptides.
Well, he didn't have that many. I think he had 4 at Feast of Blades, and then like
That's not enough.
They're like Farsight Spell Crisis suits.
They're only like 250 when you kit them out.
That's
so
true. He was playing against an orc infantry horde. It was just all boys, and he was just like mowing them down.
Yeah.
He was just hiding in the corner of the table, waiting for his army to die. I was like, how is this a game?
this was fun.
God, I hate that about 40k. That you can just sit in the corner and shoot the entire game.
No, that's what the orc player was doing to try and lose less guys.
Oh, jeez.
Stop killing me.
He's literally just had like
What?
200 guys
What do you mean?
just base to base in the corner of the table. Like, don't kill my guys.
They added objectives, but you can place them within 6 inches of your table edge, so...
Yeah, in the corner. Fucking terrible game.
Or conveniently, in a pit where you can't get to.
Yeah. I'm going to deploy my guys on this 18-inch tall building. How do I get up there? You don't. Oh, that seems fine.
You have a flyer.
Yeah.
Bad
Okay.
games are bad.
Bad games are bad. Okay, so is Resnick 1 worse than Raza?
Yes.
I think so. Personally.
I think so too.
Yep.
It's mainly the fact that all of his movement abilities that kind of make him good are lost. So
He
Yeah.
can really make up for Iron Aggression. If you just get a couple more points in synergy, you're talking about a Mat 10 Judicator. He doesn't really miss anything anyways with 2 dice.
Yeah.
moving on to Resnick 2 Wrath of Ages.
Oh god, this is the best, worst combo.
Still has terror.
Yeah, we actually have to put out the counter synergy of that. You can't be within like any distance of your guy or you'll get in his way.
Yeah.
Creator's Wrath does not help. Death March does not help. Still Iron Aggression. Lamentation kind of help.
Can Lamentation's crippling in some good matchups.
Yeah, Flesh is Weak is okay. You can kind of protect him a little bit, kind of like Fear of God.
You can keep Beast from charging him.
Yeah, but I mean, like, his feat is supposed to be like, oh, look at all the AoEs, but the Judicator already has that. I mean, it's better.
So the big thing, I think, with the combo with the feat is that...
The rockets can hit stuff.
Yeah, and you choir buff the Judicator, and you pop the feat, and suddenly you're spitting out Rat 9 POW 14 sprays.
Oh,
that
sprays.
Yeah.
RFP stuff. Rat 9 POW 14 sprays that RFP are really good.
Yeah, but your problem is still just that they threat 12 with its 4-inch walk.
Yeah, and it's the same problem Resnick 1 has. You're still stuck with a 9-inch threat range no matter what you do of melee. And
It does make the rockets Rat 7 while aiming, which isn't bad.
I was gonna say, but everybody the only people that we have talking about that doesn't do that, who's not stuck with that low threat is Fiora and
Raza.
Amon. So I don't think this in Menoth having a 9-inch threat is not something.
That's true.
There's only like 2 casters that even deal with that at all. Maybe we haven't got to him, but Vindictus eventually. So I think this guy, the 9-inch threat is not something I would see as bad, but it doesn't make his good. But I'm just saying.
A lot of the ones that make that are you're stuck with that threat range either have something to help out his shooting a lot, or to buff up the Judicator survivability. One of those
Right.
two.
The
Right.
problem is that he does nothing for survivability other than like your spells cost double, which is within reason could be countered by something else.
Right.
Like
And-
Holy Ward, for instance, would just straight be better than any defensive tech either Resnick has really.
But you do have his feat, actually, the Resnick's feat actually does do some things for him.
Yeah, I mean it makes him more accurate, which is nice. But the problem I have with like Resnick 1, for instance, is that he has threat range extensions that you can't use because you're Judicator. That's why I feel like it's a counter synergy, because his
No, you're right.
abilities are balanced assuming you get that stuff.
I would definitely put him lower than Resnick 2 for sure.
Okay, what about Tyr in Rack City?
You could still only allocate it 3 focus. And in fact, it'd be bad because if you have 150 racks, some of them would have to be placed in front of the Judicator, which means it can't move.
But target them.
Shut up. Just stop talking.
Just spray him.
I'm trying to find some bright light here.
There's no bright light. How do we feel about Resnick 2 other than that he's bad?
Bottom of the list.
Is he really that?
I think he's the worst caster in Menoth.
I don't.
And I actually-
the downside is I think he has one of the most powerful feats that are never. It's actually never bad.
It's the remove from play, I think, is the only reason you would ever look to this guy, is just to get
Right,
removed from
because-
play.
Eye of Menoth, I mean, if you look at -2 defense versus Eye of Menoth, there's a spell that is just about equally good as that feat. -2 defense versus +1 to attack and damage rolls.
Well, you're also talking about one of the most accurate factions getting a feat that's -2 defense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The blow up and stuff is actually pretty strong, but within reason, they have a lot of ways to remove that infantry, one of which is the Judicator.
I feel like the way they could have made him slightly better is make the Flesh is Weak actually a good spell.
That's true. If the Flesh was weak was like forfeit move or action on an undead unit, that would be like, oh shit! Like, that would
If
be...
it was freaking useful, like target model unit, and it was just an upkeep, didn't do damage.
Or if Death March was instead a spell that was actually like good in the faction. Because
Right.
Death March, there's just
They
nothing
just don't have
back
anything that works
it off.
that good on it. Like, if Bastions were a 10-man unit, it'd be legit, but they're not.
Instead, you can be like,
Bastions were 10 Well,
Dude,
Vengeance
Vengeance
just
is like
loses so
Vengeance.
much power when you're talking about,
Yeah.
5-man unit that's now 4 because you triggered Vengeance.
No,
Right.
I think Death March is good on like TFG and errants. Like Mat 9 errants are kind of scary.
yeah.
Reach is a big deal. I think on TFG it might be good.
It
but
puts TFG to scary because they're not afraid of low defense infantry anymore. And against good armor infantry like shield wall troops, they have auto fire on their melee attacks. So I think really you're going to be looking to TFG for Death March.
It's only on their mini feat turn list.
No,
No, they always get continuous
they
fire.
always do continuous fire.
They cause
Menoth's Howl.
terror and
Oh.
something else. Or
Yeah.
no, they just have Iron Zeal.
Yeah, Iron Zeal's their mini feat,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and then
I will say though that like as good as he makes TFG, Krios 3 still makes them better with Death Sentence and Ignite and Holy Ward.
I don't know. I got into is there a way to make Resnick too good, but I don't know why.
Take him off a battle engine. He'd be better automatic.
Dude, you can repair him when he's on that battle engine.
Give him his medium base and 1 point of defense back. And 2 war jack
I
points
think
back.
they should have stuck with Defense 14. That's stupid. Anyways, who's our next caster?
he has a
Brandon?
pretty strong no shooting tech. Anyway, where are we rating him?
Bottom
Last.
of the boat.
1 step better than Resnick 1, maybe?
Really?
I mean, he's at least the feet.
I think he's one step better than Resnick for sure.
And that person
I guess
is a
that-
bitch.
Resnick 1 does have Ignite.
Yeah, but you can't have Ignite and Iron Aggression on the Judicator.
Yeah.
I'm going 12. This guy's bad. Moving
Worse
on.
Worse than Resnick 1?
Although this next caster might be worse. The High Reclaimer.
The
Oath of Silence. Reclaim. Soulstorm. Ashes to Ashes is actually not bad. Burning Ash is pointless. Actually, it's not true. Because you can see the Colossal through the clouds, but you do take the -2 to attack rolls if you're living and inside the cloud. Sacklam can allocate it a focus, but you already gets one for free, so that's not really that good. Yeah, this is bad.
There's just there, and it's counterproductive. There's anti-synergy too, because the whole point of High Reclaimer is that you're putting down the cloud wall nothing can see in there,
Yep.
and the Judicator just ruins it.
All right, I just came up with a list idea that's going to just... You guys are going to go love it, I can tell.
All right.
So-
give me Brandon's mic.
So, Tristan running a Judicator, High Reclaimer running a Judicator, and then a Vanquisher, and then the Tristan, the Choir, and High Reclaimer just sit behind the Cloud Wall. And then all the other jacks are in front. You love it, right?
Yes? Question mark. So the High Reclaimer revives Choir Boys for his feat.
Sure.
Okay,
You love it, I can tell.
it's the next Menoth tech that everybody's
New
gonna be
meta. Okay, so is he the worst? Is he worse than Resnick 2?
Yes.
playing. Absolutely, he
13 it is.
is the worst Judicator caster. Full stop.
Period, exclamation point, question
Uh-huh.
mark.
Even the Testament of Menoth is a better.
Speaking
Judicator.
of,
Even
next
Vindictus is
caster.
Testament actually does a thing. He does one thing.
incorporeal on the feet is nifty.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, when you can charge 7 inches and have a 5-inch base.
Huzzah! Actually, Ashen
more
Veil on it is not the worst thing in the world. Because there's a lot of negative 2 to attack rolls around it. Maybe.
Yeah, but they're probably just going to be attacking it.
Right.
At least it's as bad as that feat is, and as bad as Asheville is on the Judicator, it's still more than what High Reclaimer offers.
You just want me to relabel High Reclaimer as the worst. And even in High Reclaimer's case, we can at least mention there is absolutely no chance you would ever take a Judicator with him. Because you'd be like, look at my 15-inch wide cloud wall, and they'd be like, yeah, that's sweet. Now let's put a huge base in the middle of it. And you're like, no! Like, not to mention something you can drift AoEs off of.
It's terrible. It's a terrible idea. There's no
it's so
reason
bad.
to do whatsoever. There's equally no reason to take a Judicator with Testament also.
There isn't.
Yep.
But
Ashen Veil is so minuscule.
at least there is synergy.
Well,
There
at least
is
there's not
a
counter
small one.
synergy. There's not counter synergy.
Right.
So Testament of Menoth at a 13.
Yes.
That
Yeah.
puts him just behind Resnick 2 and ahead of High Reclaimer.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
Okay. The Harbinger of Menoth.
I just got hard.
Did you get hard?
She is legal now. She wasn't when she was first introduced, but she is now legal.
They did that so people quit making the jokes.
Yes.
That still leaves the witches.
So small synergy first is Awe. Other synergy potentially Martyrdom, keeping screening models alive to where they can't get to your Judicator.
Mm-hmm.
Or keeping your mechanics and your vassals alive also. Keeping
all
your support.
all your support still stays alive for a long time, including possibly Tristan if you put Judicator on Tristan.
It's roundabout synergy, but it does count because Judicator is a great late game piece, and Martyrdom is a directly late game focus spell or ability.
Crusader's Call, increasing its start range. Fear of God, potentially protecting it. You could put Guided Hand on it. I don't know that you would. Purification removes debuffs and or buffs from enemies. And Feet protects it. Like, despite the fact that a lot of people don't take it with her, she's actually got a lot of synergy for it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So,
And then Tristan.
yeah, and Tristan on her is probably the best Judicator on a junior.
It's nowhere near the best Judicator, but if you're bound and determined to play a Judicator, you can pick a lot worse casters than Harvey to play it with.
Definitely. So let's start the bidding at Krios 1.
Worse.
Worse than Krios 1?
Yeah.
I would
She
say worse.
protects it really well.
With what armor buff? So does Krios 1.
I think she protects it a lot better than Krios 1 does. Because
Her
With what?
armor buff
Well,
in that feat's pretty big.
Here's the
pretty
reason.
legit.
Here's the reason Harbinger protects it is because nothing ever gets on it because you keep all of your screening elements alive with Martyrdom.
well, and the feed. Like,
Yeah.
Bane Trolls can't charge it under feed turn.
Mm-hmm.
You can,
It's really ridiculously hard to charge one of Harbinger's heavies.
It's not that ridiculously hard to overwhelm Harbinger's martyrdom ability.
No, I mean, you definitely can, but I mean, between probably running Zealots in front of it, martyring other things in front of it, you could even put Paladins in front of it, and you have the feat as well to almost guarantee it an extra turn. Like, I think it's going to get more than the time it's allowed to shoot.
Agreed. I just think with Krios 1, on the feat turn provides a lot of defense and an incredible extra offensive output for the Judicator.
Right. She lacks the huge accuracy buff that Krios brings.
Yeah.
And
That's what I'm saying.
assassination
I think she is worse than Krios 1. I don't think she's better than
Yeah,
Krios
I think
1.
That's why
Krios
I'm-
1 would get more work out of it.
I'm agreeing with you, Jake. That's why I was explaining myself, because I think Brandon was thinking maybe not.
Okay, so Parker?
I would agree that Krios 1 does more. With feet really alone, in my opinion, actually, because the only thing she doesn't do for it is really give it any more ability to actually do damage. Like, she does okay, but not that fantastic.
I would say the way she helps it do damage is just by giving it more time than Krios 1 does. But I do agree she doesn't have the alpha strike potential that Krios 1 will bring.
Like, I'm going to do damage this turn with the Judicator. She can't really say that.
Yeah. Well, you're all wrong, but moving on, is she better or worse than Sevi 2?
Worse.
Worse than Sevi 2? I disagree on that one.
Or Judicator.
Sevi 2 versus her is very similar. Because what Sevi 2 does is he says he just lasts forever, and she says the same thing.
Well, also, don't forget that you could be putting your Judicator on Tristan, not really worrying about him dying as often.
Right.
And he brings the armor buff for you.
That's our shoot, because when you consider the Tristan angle, it does bring the armor buff plus martyrdom.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And on a 5-inch base, he's going to be in your freaking deployment zone. Like, it's going to be so hard to get to him after feat, after martyrdom, all that.
Yep, I would say definitely better than Sevi.
I'm changing my vote. Better than Sevi 2.
I would agree with that if you consider Tristan part of Harbinger.
I think it's still another one of those cases where it's not as optimal to take Judicator with this caster, but just from a perspective of what is Judicator like, I think it is better than Sevi.
I think mainly that she doesn't have any reason for the Judicator to be in her battle group. Because where Sevi 2's angle, he has to have it in his battle group, basically.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, so I'm trying to figure out if we should go up or down. I'm going to push everyone else up. So Harby is going to come in at a 5, which is going to be just ahead of Sevi. That will push Krios to a 4. I'll push Sevi 1 to a 3. And push Fior 2 to a 2.
You can just go ahead and put her at a 2.
Yeah.
Or put her at a 1.
Yeah, we could have done that as a second list, but that's not how it works, Jake. Calm your shit.
Still
Moving
haven't
on.
gotten to Thyra yet.
That's true. Vindictus, the Fabergé egg of Menoth. Death Toll protects him. Sackpawn, looking for synergies. Defender's Ward, there we go. Defender.
True Path-ish.
True Path doesn't
Warrior
help
models?
Oh, it's Warriors. Oh, shit, yeah.
Yep.
He does have Sack Lamb, so a way to allocate focus in the activation phase.
It's not a big deal.
It's not.
You only have to give him 2 anyways.
Yeah, Rift potentially protects him if you're playing against other Menoth players.
His feat's actually kind of funny with it. You might actually kill a whole unit of Banes before.
What, by taking that many free strikes?
Right, we'll just say, like, if they know, I'm saying if the
No,
Banes
right.
charge
Feed
into
be
him.
like, if you charge me, all your dudes die. Yeah, that's
Right.
not bad.
So, like, you're
That's right.
protecting him sort of for a turn against single wounds.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, you may have taken my Judicator, but I took your unit of Banes in return.
Yeah, and probably killed something else on the
I'm
way in.
only down 8 points. Yay!
It probably killed some other stuff. We hope.
Well, yeah, the idea is if you can play, at this point, you can play the Judicator faster and looser, understanding that you're taking whatever single one unit they send in return.
Yeah.
It's your insurance blanket to make sure that he is not cheaply removed by single and infantry with
Much
no
Much like Prius 2's insurance plan of I gain a hit point if it dies.
marginally better.
Marginally better.
Yeah. A skosh.
But Defender's Ward here is actually, Defender's Ward on the Judicator is just straight good.
If Defender's Ward is his claim to fame, he can basically sit at the back.
Yeah.
When Tristan can be in 80% of these lists and give nearly that bonus. But I do agree it's nice to have it.
Makes it 3 points cheaper, too.
It does.
But,
And less likely to get turned off.
right. I think he's pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean, he's not good, but I think he's ahead of, like, the Resnick crap.
Yep.
He might break single digits, maybe.
I think you can start him ahead of Resnick 2 and see where we can work up from there.
Resnick 1, better.
Yep.
Raza?
No.
No?
No.
I guess that's true. Mobility is something.
That's
Mobility,
speed-based.
synergy.
I don't know, I think the feat beats out mobility.
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic.
No,
or
I'm not. I'm really mean that. Like the work it can do. So let's say you're playing a normal game and they bring something forward and say basically you gotta move your Judicator back or I'm gonna kill it. You just charge their thing with your Judicator and then feet and say anything that you send in here if it's single wounds. Like if you just focus on killing their heavies. Their single wounds have to die to kill your Judicator. That puts you way up on attrition.
Yeah, but it's kind of like Harvey's feet at that point.
But yeah, but then if they're just gonna like, all right, I'm not gonna kill you, then you get the opportunity to just kill more of their stuff or back up and kill more.
It's really good against Sword Knights.
That's true. Vindictus, the natural predator of Sword Knights.
I do 1 damage. Ah!
Vindictus will have already personally killed all the Sword Knights and Death told them into zealots.
Death told them into zealots. I think he's better than Raza. Does everyone disagree with me? They think Resnick 1 is better or Raza is better than Vinny?
I think Raza is better than Vindictus.
I think Raza.
Yep.
With a Judicator, yeah. Or 4
right. Vindictus going in at a 10.
You really wanted
Sorry,
him to
11.
crack single digits. Oh, it wouldn't even have mattered.
He may still. Thyra may be behind him.
No, well, not with him being at 11. He'll get into 10
Oh, he's on
maybe.
11. Oh, okay.
All right, so he goes in 11. Resnick falls down to a 12. Resnick 2 to a 13. Hieroclaimer to a 15. And Testament to a 14. Last caster. Thyra.
What spot do we have open, number 1?
We have number 1 open.
Okay.
So we should probably just slaughter in number 1.
Just slaughter on in.
Thyra should not be good with Judicator, but at the same token,
There are some things.
there are like
Hold on, wait. I gotta read this.
2 things.
So it doesn't get the feat.
The feat does not exist. Pursuit does not exist.
Occultation does not exist. Pursuit does
Yeah.
not exist. Silence of Death.
Yeah,
Stranglehold,
2 spells
okay.
and the feat. 2 spells and the feat are completely and totally useless with Judicator.
They're normally good spells.
Right. That being said,
Carnage is meh because +2 to hit is marginal when you're already looking at probably mat 8. Because it doesn't
Right.
work on range, so it's not as
But
good as...
But it is synergy. It counts.
It is. It does. Silence of Death is probably the strongest thing here. Stranglehold potentially to protect it.
if you haven't another Colossal on the table, Stranglehold can actually be really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
If you damage
Is
it.
that enough? No, it is
No.
not. But is it better than, I don't know, Resnick 2 levels of synergy? Possibly?
I kind of don't think so.
I don't think it's better than Resnick 2.
I don't either, but
So good.
no, I think she comes in behind or just ahead of the Reclaimers.
Just
And
ahead of the Reese.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would probably agree with that.
Head of Right Reclaimer would put her even with Testament.
She's better than Testament just because Silence
She
of
does
Death and
something.
Stranglehold
Silence
are
of
better.
Death is something.
Carnage
She does-
is
Red-
way
she does-
better than anything.
She does do a thing.
Resnick's feat is better than Carnage, but only marginally.
And only for 1 turn.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
this is a caster that does a thing.
Okay. So, moving on, Resnick 1? Iron Aggression?
Not a
No.
chance.
No.
No.
Alright, so...
Iron Aggression and Carnage. Full stop.
Alright, so we're going to put her in at a 12, and everyone else is going up. Feel free to talk amongst yourselves while I adjust numbers.
I have no opinion
So-
on her at all.
Fiora 2 is number 1.
Yep.
I'm very surprised by that, honestly.
You be surprised, sir.
It's I mean, she does other good things for it, but I really think it's the bond. Just like honestly, in Kador,
Yeah.
you know, Sorsha 2 does good things for Conquest, but the bond is what puts her over the top and makes her the
Right.
best caster
Yeah.
for it.
Right. Same thing for Signar. Epically, in my opinion. For the
Yeah.
Stormwall.
My Stormwall speed 7, and I can give it 4 focus, and I can triple accelerate it to movement 9.
Yep. The bonds were designed. Yeah, the bonds were designed like in a creative space to make one of your warjacks, almost as good as a unit of infantry for the same points. And when you put that effect on something that is doing a lot of attacks and has a lot of value, it's going to be really strong. That's why almost all the warjack bonds are just so very good on the Colossals.
Yeah,
Which one of the
like
Bengals
Iros 2's Bond.
I do like that they're starting to do interesting affinities, because, like,
Irish 2's bond is just bad.
Defense 9 OP.
Irish 2's bond
If you
is so
could put it on
so bad.
Black Ivan, we've talked about that.
Yeah, I know. It on
Yes.
Black Ivan would be amazing.
If if you took the word Harkovich off of Black Ivan's card and put on Irisk, it would instantly be a great model that everybody would
Because
want to
then you
get.
could bond it, and it would
Maybe
get
Def
boosted
14.
attack rolls.
Right.
Defense
You
14
can't even
would
bond a
dodge.
behemoth, can you?
You can't, no.
No.
It has to have an affinity for him.
God, that's terrible.
Okay, so
It's like awful.
going down the list, Fiora 1 came in at number 2. Sevi 1 at number... Sorry, Fiora 1 at number 1. God damn it. All right, starting over. This is the list. Fiora 2 at number 1. Sevi 1 at number 2. Krios 1 at number 3. Harbinger at number 4. Sevi 2 at number 5. Krios 3 at number 6. Fiora 1 at number 7. Krios 2 at number 8. Raza at 9. Vindictus at 10. Resnick 1 at 11. Thyra at 12. Resnick 2 at 13. Testament at 14. Hieroclaimer at 15.
I think it's funny that the only ones I ever see on the table are 1 and 5. I think it's funny. That the number 1 you see all the time, and then number 5 you see all the time.
I
but
think 2 sees Adjudicator all the time, too.
Sevi 1.
really? I do not see that very often.
It's fairly common. The POW 10 blast damage is pretty alluring.
Yeah, I was running him with 2 Judicators, and it was a boring list, to be fair. But
But you can play it in 35 points.
yes.
35 points is Sevi with 2 Judicators. You're
And
like, you're a
Choir.
dick.
It's
Don't
just
forget
like-
Choir.
Choir.
I scatter.
It takes you freaking
scatter.
3 hours to
Yeah.
play the list.
I figured out how to defeat those people. You just quit measuring their blast damage for them and make them do it from across the table, and then their back starts hurting and they stop shooting.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay. And he's like, hits that guy, he's like, uh-huh. And he goes 2 to the 5. And you're like, uh-huh. And you just look at the board. Don't move. Like, I always do it for my opponents until they annoy me. And I was like, you're doing everything now.
Yeah. It's a shame that, I don't know.
This has been Brandon.
Jeremy.
Max.
Jake.
And Parker.
If I had to come in and tell you to say your goddamn name again. Jake! Goodbye.
Bye.
I'll miss you.
Goodbye.
I might not.
If you're approaching Lawrence where KU is, you actually
littering.
have to fire a gun 3 times to announce you're entering town after midnight.
You can only fire a weapon into the air if you are balls deep into a squealing hound.
I'm going to need that in writing.
That must be a
I wish you
Wichita
were
thing.
been to Tennessee.
No.
No, me
why don't
neither,
we say
but
our
I
goodbyes,
assume-
and then we'll add this on to the post.
Okay.
I don't have fun playing Menoth casters other than Harbinger and Fiora 2 anymore. I can't play Sepi 1 and have fun anymore.
When
It's
I
just
look
so-
at Menoth,
So droll.
I feel like I'd want to play Krios 3, but
He's really fun until you realize that he himself is his personal damage output outside of charging is just a little bit. You think he can do more than he is actually able to do.
He's really not actually a combat caster that, like,
I
Wants
just think
to
of
get-
it as a high
wants to
mobility
take down
caster,
stuff.
and Force Hammer's a cool spell.
He's a support caster with closing potential.
yeah.
And it's a turbo model.
His closing potential is not even that great. It's more like, hey, I can give a really, really good charge on something just so I can get into position for a Force Hammer.
It's almost like
You
he
don't even
plays.
need the chart. I
that
like-
way he plays like Striker 3, almost like that. Striker 3, you don't want him in combat, but he could.
Pretty much
kinda-
all the Cav casters are like that, except for, I think, Vlad.
Vlad does what he wants.
Yeah. Lord of Ruin doesn't like going in with his stationary
Gray.
sword and
But, I mean, usually when he goes in,
Power
it's for the
17
game.
sword.
Yeah. Actually, I think Gorshid
He
actually can go
camps
in
like
more.
a boss, too.
Right. That's the thing is Gorshid can actually go in more often because he can often go in, stationary something, and then
And he
just say,
ignores
well,
all
what do you
free
got now?
strikes and-
Yeah, he's just like, what do you got? Come at me with what? What do you got to kill
I'm going to
me?
use this Mat 9 charge attack to freeze your defense 14 angel.
and you can't.
And then
do
I'm going to
anything.
camp, and Dear Angel's going to die.
One thing we didn't go over, Warjack synergy.
Other Warjacks with synergy,
Yeah.
like
Does the house
Avatar
have shield guard?
Yeah, you got Avatar and
with gaze,
with Gaze.
Also Reckoner.
Shield Guard. Yeah.
devout
Flare.
shield guard.
Yeah, Reckoner with Flare.
You don't need fucking shield guard. You got passage.
They have magical guns. You
Then-
don't.
Then
have
you need a
magic.
shield guard. Just
I don't
screen
know,
it with
is it-
2 battle engines.
It's Iona plus Iris for the win.
Just screen it with 2 battle engines.
There you go.
You got
How
nothing.
stupid is it that a aiming Judicator under P7 with that is like if it aims against something that's been flared is Rat 8?
Yeah.
This is dumb.
You mean that you're upset that it's not
It's
Rat
not
12?
it's not that dumb until you point out that his gun is inaccurate.
Yeah. You're like, yeah, that seems fine. It's like, he has an inaccurate gun. You're like, excuse me? You mean that you didn't point out that the sprays that ignore concealment, cover, stealth, and melee bonus are Rat 12? You forgot to mention that part.
What about the Indictor?
The Indictor?
Yeah.
That's okay.
Prevents
about the
orders.
What?
For the Indictor to be good at anything, it would have to come out.
Only the
But that's-
Banshee does that? Okay.
It's called Proxine.
Brandon's a dick of a tournament organizer and doesn't allow proxies.
Yeah. Sorry.
That's why you just go up to Kim and say, I want
Do
to
you
proxy this.
do you allow pre-release models?
Yes.
Okay.
I
I'm going
was-
to be out before I get a chance to
The
play.
stats are available.
I made a terrible decision when I was bored the other day, and I went on the privateer forums. And
Oh.
I was reading this article about this guy that converted a behemoth out of an extreme juggernaut, and I had done that before, so I was like, I guess I'll read this. The guy's like, yeah, this guy, and points out a specific press ganger that runs tournaments in his local area. He's like, this guy's a dick. He doesn't allow any converted models. This guy made an extreme behemoth, and he wouldn't let him play with it, and it looked amazing. And then the privateer, or the press ganger came on the boards, and he's like, actually, I told him he couldn't play with his scratch-built behemoth that had no model parts involved. Like, it was Legos and putty. Like, it was like, and then the other guy was like, sorry. It's like, because, you hear from a guy who hear from a guy, and you post something and badmouth somebody. And
Yeah.
Was that funny?
It was
This-
funny.
This paper towel roll
As long
is
as my
battle
Nomad's
engine.
is legal.
Your Nomad was originally a Nomad, so I don't
Yeah.
see why it wouldn't be illegal.
This metal nomad, or this plastic nomad, used to be part of a metal nomad.
And the plastic Nomad.
And the plastic nomad. And,
Just grinding off all the detail on the chassis.
yeah.
It's like I just put them into a food processor and glued them all together.
I actually wanted to do that, just like take models, take pictures of them, and then just take a sledgehammer and hammer them down flat, and glue them to the bases and write what they are on them, and just start moving them around. It's like,
Or you could like melt them a little bit and then like sear it into the top, like use
yeah,
a
just
brand.
stamp it in.
Yeah.
There you go.
So we cracked the code. We now know Judicator is good with Fiora 2.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
we figured it out.
So far, it's been Haley 2, Sorsha 2, Fiora 2. I feel like there's a pattern here.
Yeah. All those
What's
quick
the-
spawns.
what's the
Give you
pattern?
all of my perspectives.
Let's not forget Magnus.
Twos?
2.
Epic females.
What about Magnus 2?
Magnus 2? He's not female.
So, Epic Denegra best with Kraken.
Epic females with reach weapons. That's the rule.
Okay.
And bonding,
I
maybe.
disagree.
Because I thought we were going to say Epic Scar was best with Kraken, and then it was going to be like, well,
It's possible.
kind of a case to be made, actually.
Yeah.
Kind
It's
of.
not, though. There's no case to be made.
It's probably Gorshade 2.
It's probably Gorshade 2.
I don't even know if it is, but I'm just saying it's not. I don't think you can really. I think Scar's
let's be
okay with it. I just don't think you
Black
can say
Spot's
it's
pretty
best.
awesome on it.
It's hilarious when it works.
When it works
Yeah.
against noobs.
When it works, it's fucking
You're
retarded.
just watching someone, you're like, I feel so bad for you. And it's like blowing up his whole arm.
I'm going to black spot your Mechanithrals. Commence destroying your army.
Mistakes!
The only problem, the only score energy with it is if you turn them into corpse tokens, you actually don't get the black spot, which is dumb.
Well,
But-
that's why you. Black spot's only really cool when you're shooting your guns. I mean, it's okay
Right.
if you're.
Well, but you have to turn them into corpse tokens. Don't you?
No, you do not, because it only works in melee.
Right, he's saying you should shoot the
If you're
guns.
shooting your guns, it's
Oh, shoot the guns, trigger
never
back
does
spot.
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So who was number 1 for the mammoth?
Yeah, I don't even remember.
Probably Makeda too.
Epic Makeda.
I'm thinking
No.
it's Makeda too.
We're going by the formula.
So good
huh?
on the
I think
mana.
it's Makeda too.
I think it might have been Xerxes 1.
Everyone knows that abilities that let you give your colossal out of activation movement are the best things on them.
Yes! Leash! Get that shit in there!
Oh no, I bet it was Makeda 1. Because savagery and defender's ward.
Savagery. It's okay.
Max made a strange face. I'm scared.
I'd prefer...
I think he's having a stroke.
I think it might be Hexy too, actually, if we're being serious and not
That's true. Black
moving around.
Spot's not bad.
I think it's okay. He definitely wasn't number 1, though, when we rated them.
Why does
It was
Scorn players
Tubby.
cry so much? Can that be an episode? Why do Scorn players cry so much?
We would
There's
have
a
to.
lot of players... I mean, if I don't go to the Privateer Press forums very often, but, I mean, you can go to I'm sure you can go to the Khador and see why they suck, and I for damn sure know you can go to the Retribution forum and see why they suck, and Minions, because they're not a faction.
They get
and
their
then-
threads locked. They're so bad.
And as long as you're, like, not Crix or, I don't know, choice other couple factions, they're probably all complaining about how bad they are. And I'm sure Crix you can find people complaining about, oh
Yeah.
my god, there's so much infantry hate.
Or like the epic thread about how Epic Scar is a pile of poop.
Oh my god.
Well, but that's a tongue-in-cheek thread, though.
I love that the
But to be fair,
first world problems thread
it does suck.
was so good. How come Detchak have no reach in Berserk? And overtake? Like, what the fuck? Like, someone typed that?
I'd pay
Hey.
18 points for it.
Yeah.
Erebus has overtake.
I know.
Legit model value right there.
It's interesting if he had reach, because overtake and Ravager isn't that special on half-inch melee, but you can play him with Terminus.
There was this guy bragging on the Crix Facebook page
If he
the
would have
other
got
day.
the character buff to Mat 8, it'd be interesting.
Yeah, I would.
There was this guy bragging on the Crix Facebook page about how he won versus Khador on scenario, and he lists out the thing the guy took. He took Karchev with Behemoth, Torch, and a Devastator versus Lich 2 running a full unit of Bane Knights, a full unit of Bane Thralls with UA, Tartarus, and 2 Warwitch Sirens. And the first response is, are you fucking retarded? Like, how did you not win instantly versus his
Yeah.
list? And then everyone was just burning him alive for like,
'Cause he
what did
didn't-
you do to that new
Because he
player?
didn't kill any of his models, so he couldn't feed.
Yeah,
I mean, that's why it was
that's
really
probably
hard.
why. I'm gonna take. You killed one randomly with like Behemoth's gun, so I'm gonna vengeance and kill all my own Bane Knights. And then I'm gonna feed and kill your whole army. Thanks.
He didn't have
Oh,
Bile Thrones?
No, you don't need them when you have. It's like 25 points. It was terrible.
That is one of the worst things I've ever heard in my life. How come the speaking of Karchev, you're talking about Karchev, not Harkovich, right?
Yeah. That's it.
Karchevich.
Harkachev.
Speaking of Karchev, why has the Beast 09 missile like gone the way of the dodo?
They all got tired of Drolar not existing yet.
Yeah.
That's going to make a difference. The problem is
Right.
it works versus a lot of things, but it's really a dark horse. If they know exactly how your list works, it becomes much harder because they just play. It's like More Neighbor. You play super prevent to where it's just not possible for you to die, and then I have to start actually playing the game, which reduces my ability to actually perform my trick.
Right.
It's
So
like
you
once
actually
all my
have to
shit
pick
is separated and engaged with your infantry, then it's hard for me to actually slingshot.
But Mort Neighbor doesn't have a knockdown spray.
It's true. It's actually super annoying. Sometimes you wish Karchev did not have reach, so he could actually get in range to spray stuff.
It's a 10-inch spray.
But he has reach, so it's an 8-inch spray.
First world problems.
I know.
Okay.
If Karchev didn't have reach, I
Oh my
could spray.
No, I can't tell you how many times I'm like, God, why does Karchev have reach? Like,
That's how they balanced him, is they gave him reach.
yeah,
Yeah,
clearly.
bounced him with reach.
Solution, give him quick look.
No, don't get me wrong. There's way more times I'm happy he has reach, but there's occasionally like, I wish I could just put my axe down and spray people. He should have Gunfighter, let's be honest. He should have Gunfighter.
He should also be Rat too. But
And
that's a whole different
Virtuoso. If he could just have Virtuoso as well.
He is shooting you with an earthquake he throws at you with his own axe.
Yeah, but he
Like
can't
that-
use it. And once again, I agree with what Trevor says. Is like, why can I not shoot you if I'm engaging you, but you're not engaging me? Like, that's stupid. I have a spear, therefore I can't use my pistol.
Right, because you're keeping them at bay.
Yeah. But if I didn't have a spear, they're at bay. I don't have to keep them there if I don't have the spear.
No one in their right mind would ever stab someone or shoot someone where they could stab him instead.
Mm-hmm. No one
Right?
from Kador, anyway.
Yeah.
All those stupid swans would.
Yeah, because they're shooting back.
All right, guys. Well, I think that's going to wrap us up for the Judicator episode. Tune in
The
next
Winter
time.
Repenter is sweet.
League models are OP, turns out. When Doom Reavers have that stupid...
Straight up doesn't even make sense. I've got a ice thrower.
I really like the Doom Reavers that had the Quartermaster where they all came back to life if you didn't kill the Overseer guy.
Oh, they're like Revenant Crew?
Yeah, they were Revenant Crew, but Doom Reavers. It was amazing.